If this child is born in this house, I personally guarantee it will never carry the Römer name.
Someone very close to Richard was about to expose decades of family secrets. None of them knew that one conversation would change everything forever.
You can remove my name from the door, Frau Elisabeth, but you cannot take my child from me.
The temperature in the vast marble salon dropped perceptibly. Unspoken truth hung between them like a blade.
Does your child refer to the most carefully planned fraud this family has ever suffered?
I have never asked Richard for money.
You did not ask because you learned to wait for far more.
Richard's fingers cramped around the leather case until his knuckles turned bone white. His expensive suit felt suddenly like prison walls.
If Richard truly believes that, then he should look me directly in the eyes and tell me himself.
My son need not look at a woman like you. He need only wake from his delusion.
Each word penetrated him like physical blows. His face transformed under the weight of dawning guilt and comprehension.
Did you rehearse this speech many times in the mirror?
I have outlasted women far superior to you who nonetheless failed to infiltrate this family.
Then why do you have such terrible fear of me?
Elizabeth's ice blue eyes moved downward to Annika's pendant. Her entire body stiffened in sudden recognition of something deeply troubling. Richard noticed the shell pendant visible through the partially open door. Something about it triggered recognition he could not yet name.
Where did you get that?
It belonged to my mother.
Then your mother clearly understood how to choose symbols strategically to impress others.
My mother knew how to work hard, Frau Elisabeth. She cleaned hotel rooms. She made countless double shifts, came home late smelling of harsh disinfectant, and still taught me never to lower my head before people who mistake a family name for real character.
Elizabeth's face hardened into stone. Fear broke through her carefully maintained composure for the first time.
Be careful. There are doors in the past that a pregnant woman should never open.
And there are sins a powerful family cannot bury forever.
This sentence struck something deep and unresolved in Richard's own history. He heard conversations he had chosen to dismiss.
Sign this now before Richard returns. He is exhausted and under enormous pressure with the most important business deal of his entire life. He does not deserve to be dragged into a dirty scandal by a girl who became pregnant far too quickly and far too conveniently.
You know exactly when this baby was conceived. You know without doubt that Richard is the father. You know deep in your soul that I never needed to prove anything.
I know what is convenient to know and what is useful to know, and a medical test says one thing while cruel public opinion understands something entirely different.
Richard closed his eyes painfully. This sentence revealed something far more sinister than simple maternal concern. The heavy oak door burst open with such force it crashed against the marble wall. Both women spun around in shock.
Early enough.
The silence that followed felt like a physical weight. It confirmed everything without words.
I heard my own mother threatening to strike my family name from my unborn son.
Annika's gesture said far more than any spoken words. She had endured this humiliation many times before today.
Annika, wait please. We need to talk urgently.
You only heard it because you happened to come back early. Not because you questioned critically. Not because you believed me. Not when your mother demeaned me before the staff. Not when your aunts mocked my simple dress, and not when I said I was tired and you only—
Each word from Annika penetrated Richard like physical blows. He suddenly recognized moments he had witnessed and chosen not to truly see. Elizabeth's jaw tightened with visible tension. Her ice blue eyes darted back toward the pendant with something approaching panic.
Why does this chain bother you so much, Mother?
Do not be ridiculous, Richard. We are speaking here of a woman attempting to trap you with a calculated pregnancy and cheap theater of false humility.
Do not use my dead mother to insult me again.
Your mother? Simply a hotel employee. A woman who knew precisely how to circulate in circles where she absolutely had no place being.
My mother died, working to pay for expensive medicine she hid from me. If she circulated anywhere, it was with a heavy tray in her hands and aching, swollen feet. She never complained. She never begged. She taught me dignity.
Which hotel?
Annika looked at Richard directly for the first time since his arrival. Love and profound disillusionment mixed in her warm brown eyes.
Why is it important now?
Richard had no answer to this question without sounding far more guilty. His dark eyes reflected sudden understanding of his profound failure. Elizabeth's jaw tightened with calculation, her ice blue eyes fixed with troubling intensity on the shell pendant at Annika's collarbone.
What exactly troubles you about this pendant, Mother?
I speak of a massive ancient debt your father left behind, and I have spent my entire life preventing anyone from ever collecting from you.
This revelation hung in the air like a sword. Richard's face registered the exact moment everything fractured. The familiar sound of an automobile engine drifted from the driveway. All three froze in their respective positions. Richard watched as Annika descended the stone steps without waiting for a chauffeur. This was no spontaneous departure. Annika accepted the jacket from Martha. Both women shared a look of mutual understanding accumulated across months of unspoken alliance. Annika climbed into a waiting taxi she had clearly ordered in advance. Her escape had been deliberately calculated. Richard understood that Annika had prepared her escape. She left not out of emotion, but out of deliberate calculation. Richard's voice emerged with harsh, desperate command. He had never spoken to his mother this way before.
Will you truly choose a woman who lied about her own humble background over your own mother?
Richard's gaze settled on the unsigned contract. His voice carried contempt he had never directed at anyone before. Elizabeth stiffened into complete immobility. This silence confirmed far more than any spoken confession. Richard left the vast marble salon within minutes without his travel case. The Romer villa loomed behind him, with all its marble and gilt and accumulated lies. The taxi carrying Annika moved through the glittering streets of Stuttgart. Annika pressed both hands firmly against her rounded belly. The taxi driver asked twice with deep concern if Annika was all right. She could only shake her head. Richard's phone displayed his name persistently. Annika let the device glow silently until all sound ceased.
Do not come after me now to rescue me heroically. Come to me only when you are truly ready to tell me the absolute truth.
Richard read these words while standing before the great ornamental gate. The lights of Stuttgart glittered beyond like a false promise. The taxi turned into a much quieter neighborhood, far removed from the aggressive glitter of wealth. Annika's shoulders released their tension. The old, charming apartment building welcomed her home. Annika stepped out with visible relief. Annika's old house key emerged from her handbag, wrapped in cloth that once belonged to her mother. It appeared like talisman and burden. The old rusty lock resisted briefly before yielding with a creaking sound. Annika pushed the door open slowly into the apartment's particular loneliness. The small, neat apartment appeared frozen in time, exactly as her mother left it. Annika's face registered both grief and unexpected comfort. Annika collapsed onto the worn old sofa. Her protective hand finally released her belly to allow the weight of accumulated trauma to surface. Annika wept not because of Elizabeth's cruelty, but because Richard's defense arrived far too late with too much uncertainty in his eyes. Annika sat very still on the worn sofa. Her face showed grief transforming into fierce determination and resolve.
I do not want my unborn child turned into a dirty family fight, Herr Vogel.
My dear child, God be praised I reached you. Your mother made me give a sacred promise to insist only when time was almost gone, but we absolutely cannot wait longer.
The bitter conflict already exists long ago. The only difference is, until today, only the other side used legal documents as weapons.
Frau Elisabeth knows more than she ever should, and if she genuinely tried to force you to sign a waiver today, it was only because she recognized that your pregnancy has changed everything.
How much time remains?
Very little. We must meet early tomorrow morning. And Annika sign absolutely nothing from the Römer family, not even from love.
Richard climbed the curved staircase of the Römer villa with rapid purpose. Elizabeth's voice called in urgent protest from below. Richard studied the old black and white photograph at his desk. He recognized his young father standing beside a dark-haired woman. Richard studied the documents in the folder. His hands trembled as he traced his mother's own deliberately concealing handwriting. Elizabeth stood outside Richard's locked study door. Her ice-blue eyes betrayed panic beneath her carefully maintained composure.
Richard, open this door immediately. We must discuss this rationally.
Who exactly was Maria Schneider?
An extremely ambitious woman who approached your father when he was emotionally very vulnerable.
And that she is my wife's mother is merely a coincidence?
Indeed, a most unfortunate coincidence.
Coincidence is decidedly not the correct word for this.
Richard opened his study door unexpectedly. Elizabeth's entire body stiffened, as if struck physically. Richard descended the curved staircase without his travel case. The Römer villa loomed behind him as he left far more than just a building. Richard stood motionless before the great ornamental gate of the Römer villa. The salty scent of approaching breeze mixed with expensive perfume. Richard called Annika's phone repeatedly. Each unanswered call landed on his face like physical impact. Annika remained awake through the long night on the worn sofa. Her face cycled between grief and fierce determination. Annika opened the old documents box at exactly 3 in the morning. She trembled slightly as she withdrew the sealed envelope. Annika stared at the sealed envelope for a very long moment. Her entire body stiffened with sudden resolve. Annika carefully broke the old wax seal. Her warm brown eyes began to read words, waiting years to finally be spoken. The letter revealed Maria's confession and truth. Annika understood fully the extent of her mother's pain and sacrifice. The moment Annika finished reading, her protective hand became almost violent in its grip on her belly. Early morning light filtered through lawyer Andreas Vogel's modest office. Annika sat with the documents spread before her with steady determination.
Your mother's inheritance claims at the Hotel Panorama were lost under highly questionable circumstances, and your pregnancy significantly strengthens the legal position of this case.
I want no power struggle. I want honesty and justice.
Then we proceed with truth as our foundation.
Richard and Annika met days later in the modest office. The air between them was heavy with accumulated pain and fragile hope.
I was blind. I chose not to see. I was not blind-eyed. I was complicit in my own family's cruelty through silence.
I need a man who sees me, truly sees me. Not a man who defends me only when he witnesses the cruelty firsthand.
I will spend the rest of my life making certain you never doubt that I truly see you.
The legal proceedings unfolded over subsequent months. Richard stood beside Annika throughout each hearing with steady commitment. 5 years later, the Hotel Panorama had been transformed into a vibrant living space. Annika and Richard walked together through the renovated halls. Young Tobias explored the Hotel Panorama with innocent wonder. His expression reflected genuine joy, unburdened by family secrets. Annika showed Tobias the framed photograph of his great-grandmother Maria. She explained the story of his great-grandmother's courage and sacrifice. Elizabeth studied the employee identification card of Maria Schneider. Her face showed the weight of accumulated guilt beginning to transform into acceptance.
I was wrong. Terribly wrong. Your mother's mistakes should never have been carried on your shoulders or in your family's heart.
Richard accepted his mother's gesture and her words with cautious grace. Both were locked in a moment of tentative healing. A family moment manifested years of healing work. Annika, Richard, and Tobias sat together with their hands connected. The Hotel Panorama stood fully transformed and thriving. It now radiated warmth and welcome. This closing reflection showed Richard and Annika's journey transforming not just their family, but their entire lives. Their commitment to truth now extended into all their work. A thoughtful reflection showed quiet moments throughout the Hotel Panorama. Guests experienced genuine hospitality and dignity. Richard's private moment of reflection showed the cumulative wisdom earned through family reckoning. His dark eyes reflected sadness at time lost to silence. Annika's moment of reflection showed the journey from humiliation to empowerment. Her warm brown eyes reflected hard-won wisdom and absolute clarity. The Hotel Panorama stood as final reflection of all truths transformed into living action. The building became living testimony to redemptive power. Richard and Annika stood together in the Hotel Panorama's entrance hall. Their son Tobias held his great-grandmother's photograph carefully in small hands. The shell pendant gleamed in soft light, now understood not as weapon but as bridge, connecting generations of women who refused silence. Maria's framed photograph in the Hotel Panorama carried her gentle smile. Her memory was no longer buried, but celebrated. The Hotel Panorama at golden hour, bathed in warm sunset light. The transformation was complete and permanent. A final quiet moment showed Richard, Annika, and Tobias walking together through the Hotel Panorama at dusk. Their family was built on truth and genuine seeing. A final image of the shell pendant in soft, golden light. A symbol of all that had been survived and transformed.